In Centerville, Illinois, a city with only a population of about 5,000 people, it is known that it's the poorest city in the state of Illinois. Due to this, many families are put into bad situations like having little to no access to health care, which can have a huge impact on their futures and the futures of their families. One example is the effect of the life of Becky and Brian. Becky and Brian are a couple who dropped out of high school due to teen pregnancy at 16. Brian's grandfather served in World War II and used cigarettes heavily, and passed the habit onto Brian's father and subsequently Brian. Due to a lack of comprehensive education, not only did the teen couple get pregnant, but Brian influenced Becky to start smoking while she was pregnant. Fast forward 24 years later, Becky and Brian are 40 years old and in stressful jobs and smoking to relieve their stress. Because of a lack of education about smoking, they never found healthier ways to relieve their stress. And Brian developed lung disease, while Becky, luckier in a sense, was diagnosed with a minor heart disease-related problem. They initially went to get help, but due to expensive medical bills and the fact that they lived in poverty, they stopped getting treatment. To make matters worse, due to their addiction to nicotine, both continued to smoke. As months passed by, Brian's condition worsened and he had to be hospitalized. Becky was heavily influenced by the loss of their second income. She was left to deal with her own illness, take care of their 4 young children, all while picking up extra shifts at work to cover for costs. During these stressful times, Becky could not stop spending money on cigarettes, so in order to cut costs, she stopped driving to the healthier grocery store that was farther away and started eating more fast food because it was cheaper, leading to health only to decline. During one of Brian's doctor's appointments, their doctor suggested to decrease any further damage to his condition, they should both stop smoking, but neither of them listened. Unfortunately, by the end of the year, Brian loses his fight to lung cancer and dies, leaving Becky with no health care because they were on his work plan, and forcing her to pay the remaining medical bills out of pocket. In addition, paying for Brian's funeral forced her and her family to go bankrupt, and her family had to live in an unfit small house. Years later, one of Becky and Brian's children, Tommy, turned 16. Growing up without a father and a mother who was constantly in bad health had a huge impact on his development, so when his friends started pressuring him to start smoking, he didn't know what to do. Tommy starts to consider smoking because he sees his friends doing it and his mom. Luckily, in school the next day, Miss Samantha, Tommy's teacher, is doing a lesson on preventing teen tobacco use after their state introduced a statewide comprehensive tobacco program in their local schools and hospitals. Local physicians visited the class to teach them about the negative effects of secondhand smoke and encourage students who have smoking parents to use nicotine supplements like patches or gum to quit the bad habit. After the lesson, Miss Samantha assigns a project to the class in which the students have to educate about tobacco use to their peers and the harmful effects associated with it. While completing this assignment, Tommy realizes the harmful effects of smoking and decided he does not want to continue the cycle in his family. Tommy uses his personal experiences with his dad and his mom as a way to educate his peers on what can happen to a person who uses tobacco. In addition to educating the kids in school about the negative uses of tobacco, Tommy uses his lessons from school to tell his mother, Becky, who struggles with smoking, about the community support programs that he learned about for adults who smoke and how to stop any further damage and the treatment that is available. After talking to her son, Becky decided to get her life back on track and decided to quit smoking. After hearing about the St. Clair County Public Housing Authority from one of her meetings. Through this housing initiative, Becky was successful in getting a house. In addition, due to the Workforce Innovation and Opportunities Act, the St. Clair Community Action Agency was funded, and Becky was able to go to classes at local colleges and go to resume building classes and learn how to apply to better jobs. This allowed her to get a higher, steady-paying job as a secretary and was better able to support her family. Brian and Becky's stories show the struggle of the people and how interventions are needed for cities like Centerville, and how putting in place policies like the ones discussed can make a huge difference and set a path that most thought would be impossible.